It was an act of senseless violence, or even worse, an act of hate. This afternoon, reaction continues to pour in following the brutal slayings of two Israeli embassy employees. Sarah Milgrim and Yaron Leschinski were gunned down last night during what appears to be another act of anti-Semitism. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is Mr. Ron Halber, CEO of the Jewish Community Relations Council of Greater Washington, joining us right here on the Live Zone. Mr. Halber, always good to see you, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I wish it happened to be better with regard to the circumstances surrounding this. However, in this case, we are yet again dealing with what appears to be anti-Semitism. First of all, your thoughts and or comments surrounding this horrific incident.
Well, last night our organization had our own annual meeting, and we went home, and then all of a sudden my phone went ablaze with every other Jewish leaders about the horrific slaying of this beautiful young Israeli Jewish couple set to get married, set to become engaged and to spend their lives together, and just killed on the streets of D.C. for no other reason for the fact that they are Israeli and Jewish. A senseless murder carried out by obviously a deranged individual who thought somehow killing two innocent people, you see them on the screen, beautiful couple, was going to bring about change 6,000 miles away. And unfortunately, this is not the first incident of this kind, and nor will it be the last.
Sir, you have been a leading advocate, if you will, for additional security funding for Jewish community and nonprofit institutions in and around the nation's capital region. My question to you is, as a result of this, yet again, this horrific incident, do you think we'll finally see that?
Well, it would be unfair to say that government hasn't stepped up. Mayor Bowser provided $500,000 for the first time for security funding. Virginia State has a fund. Maryland, the governor of Maryland, doubled the security funding. Montgomery County has a fund. But the kind of funding that we need is only possible by the federal government. The government needs to start providing billions of dollars to not just the Jewish community, but other communities at risk of hate crimes in order to go ahead and provide for operating dollars to pay for off-duty police officers and or armed security that can protect their institutions and also extend the perimeter from their events. Now, the American Jewish Committee, which was the sponsor of this organization, sponsor of this program last night, is a very professional organization, excellent staff, and there was nothing they could have done to prevent this random act of violence. But as we look into the future, what we might want to consider is getting more money so we can have more security and expand it out beyond the immediate building at several blocks away, so to create a greater enlargement zone of security at Jewish community events. The one thing I do know is that the Jewish community is not going to stop living proud and openly proud Jewish lives. We're not going to be intimidated. We're resilient. And right now our hearts are broken with our Israeli brothers and sisters abroad.
You made mention of the beautiful couple. Of course, we're referring to Yaron and Sarah. Our sources have told us that he was planning to propose to her sometime in the near future. Yet again, pulling at the heartstrings to think that will never happen now.
So instead of attending a wedding, families will be attending a funeral.
Those who continue to spew hate and or turn the other way when something like this happens, and I'm making reference to anti-Semitism, what is it that you would like to say to those people?
Well, you got to understand, this goes beyond anti-Semitism, all right? So anti-Semitism, which has accelerated, anti-Semitism was accelerating as well as other forms of hatred against other minorities and the LGBT community, Asian Americans and African Americans, Latinos and immigrants, was already on the upswing. But when the war broke out in Israel, it accelerated even more. And when anti-Semitic rhetoric plainly against Jews is utilized, and it's not condemned heavily and it becomes normalized, it's going to lead to this type of radicalization. And here's another important point. People are throwing words around. People use the word Zionist like it's a pejorative term, which just means a person who's Jewish who believes in a national homeland. And you see a lot of these anti-Israel organizations using this word every day and accusing Israel of things like genocide, which is absolutely disgusting because the word genocide was created to explain what happened in the Holocaust, because nothing had ever happened to them. They had to create the word genocide. To say that Israel's conducting a genocide is outrageous. I even hear ethnic cleansing, and that's outrageous too. I mean, yes, there is a humanitarian disaster in Gaza. Israel was attacked. There's a war. It's horrible. And how many Palestinians have been killed? A lot of them have been killed because Hamas has been using their own people as shields. A lot of them have been killed because of accidents of Israel, and your hearts bleed for all that. But it's not ethnic cleansing, and it's not genocide. And when you use words like that, you get people self-radicalized. And our greatest concern is that the person who's not on the radar of the FBI or not on the radar of the police, who starts listening to all this venomous hate and becomes radicalized and picks up a gun and starts committing an act of terrorism. Now, I don't know if that's what happened yesterday, but I'm bets on that is what happened.
Well said, sir. Yet again, we have been speaking with Mr. Ron Halber. He's the CEO of the Jewish Community Relations Council of Greater Washington, joining us right here on the Live Zone. Truly appreciate you joining us, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Mr. Halber isn't the only one calling for more awareness. So is my next guest. I'm referring to Mr. Gil Pruz. He's the CEO of the Jewish Federation of Greater Washington and joins us right here on the Live Zone. Mr. Pruz, thank you so much for joining us. I wish, yet again, the circumstances happen to be a lot better.
Thank you for having me.
Obviously, there is a number of folks reacting with regard to the horrendous act that took place last night. Any comments thus far, sir?
I just want to reiterate, I mean, the nature of the violence of someone coming to an event where people were gathering to build bridges and connect and think about how to reduce the violence in the Middle East is such a shock. Coming up to people and point blank murdering them at such an event, such an act of anti-Semitism within our city is just shocking. On the one hand, yet far too frequent on the other hand, as we've seen around the country and over time.
You hit the nail right on the head with regard to that. That takes me to my next question. It's 2025. I looked at the calendar today. Obviously, we all know that. I'm still talking about anti-Semitism. It's still an issue, and I would even argue for some, it's become a thing of the norm.
Yeah, so when I was growing up, I thought it was something that was going to go away, that anti-Semitism was diminishing in this country. But what we've seen over the past 10 years, and it's not just since October 7th, but over the past 10 years, there's been a significant increase in anti-Semitism across the country. Whether it is people drawing swastikas or saying things about the Jewish community, and it's just this growth. And so understanding why that is happening and how do we change that, because that in many ways is what enables partly the act that we saw last night.
Sir, with regard to security, I'm curious, do you feel safe yet again with security? And we do know that obviously it has been beefed up throughout the area, but well, some would argue that's only temporary.
Right. So it is important as we go forward that we re-examine all the security protocols. We believe that we have put excellent ones in place, but we need to make sure not only is there the physical security to prevent someone, but also the training that everyone has, what to do, how to identify someone suspicious, what to do and how to respond when something arises, because security is both physical and also mental and cultural. We need to make sure that there's growth right now in what is happening, but that it doesn't diminish in a week or 2 weeks or 1 month, because the threat doesn't go away in that time period. It will continue even after some of perhaps the broader focus goes away.
Mr. Pruz, we'll end with this, and that's the same question I posed to my last guest, and that is, how do we bring about more awareness? How do we bring about change? How do we make sure this never happens again?
I think the biggest part is that we need people across the spectrum, across different forms of leadership, civic, religious, political, business leaders, regardless of their political perspective, to actively and consistently condemn anti-Semitism and condemn this attack as well as all the other attacks. We have to make it illegitimate once again, like it felt it was becoming 20 years ago, but right now it is as if people are allowing it and ignoring it, and we have to change that dynamic. Leadership must lead on this as we go forward.
Well said, sir. Yet again, we have been speaking with Gil Pruz. He is the CEO of the Jewish Federation of Greater Washington. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys, time now, 12:10. This is the Fox 5 Live Zone. I want to bring you up to speed. We are awaiting D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser to hold a press conference, yet again, discussing all things surrounding the 2 lives gone far too soon. We are expecting that to get underway beginning at 1 p.m. or so. Should that happen, and when that happens, we'll take you there live right here on the Live Zone. Switching gears to politics, House Republicans passed President Trump's sweeping tax and spending cuts package earlier this morning, marking a stunning victory for both Speaker Mike Johnson and Trump after the bill appeared doomed just days earlier. All this as reaction continues to pour in following President Trump's meeting with the South African president yesterday. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is Mr. Timothy Allen Simon, political strategist back here on the Live Zone. Timothy, always good to see you, sir. Happy Thursday.
You guy. Thank you.
Obviously, the world is still reeling over the loss of the innocent lives that were taken last night with regard to the 2 Israeli embassy employees. What can or should the president do with regard to addressing anti-Semitism, Timothy?
Well, first, let me extend my condolences to this beautiful couple that was so tragically gunned down. I do believe the Trump administration is taking extraordinary steps to combat what has been defined as anti-Semitism, particularly on college campuses and other public places. In this particular incident, I think there should clearly be heightened security at locations that could be targets for these types of violent acts. We also get back to gun legislation, but that's not the topic that we're addressing. Someone has to address the fact that we are a very gun-prone and very violent society, and what can we do to make certain that whomever the killers were do not have easy access to firearms to engage in this type of murderous behavior. But with that being said, I do believe President Trump has put an emphasis on combating anti-Semitism, as did former Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff, who not only was addressing the issue of anti-Semitism, but also Islamophobia that exists in this country as well. Overall, it comes down to we have to eradicate hate and bigotry wherever we find it, because it can grow like a California wildfire. This nation's history has shown that there's a strong propensity towards racism, and there has to be aggressive steps to prohibit that.
Well said, Timothy.